Hello, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Get Hooked on Strategy with me, LT. And this is the weekly check-in where we are looking at how to turn our strategy into habit rather than a chore. And we're doing this by checking in for just a few minutes every week and seeing where we're at and making sure that our strategic plan doesn't get dusty on the shelf. And so that leads us into what we're discussing today. How in the world do we check in every single week to talk about the same thing? Well, every week we're not talking about the same thing. We're referencing our plans and our vision and how we get there. And sometimes we spend a lot of time, sometimes we spend a little, but the check-ins are just to see where we're at, what needs to be accomplished, take a look at the calendar. We don't want to look back at the calendar in 6 months and go, ooh, I was supposed to do a lot of stuff I didn't do. So let me bop over to screen share as usual. And first thing we always do is check the calendar because that's what the check-in is for. This check-in is for me and I'm sharing it with the world to make myself accountable. And the first thing that I do is check in on this calendar that you can request to share from me if you'd like. And you'll see that we're in a time phase where we're not doing a whole lot. We just finished Q1 and we have coming up next week, challenges and advantage check. That doesn't mean we're redoing the whole process, but we're just taking a quick look and seeing if we have anything that has come up in our minds that we need to add. I've done my transaction check already for this week, and okay, coming up is the risk review. So same thing, I'm going to take a look at my list of risks and see if anything seems like it might be approaching a trigger or if there's anything that I've thought of that I want to add. Straightforward and simple, and you can find all of this in the strategic planning template. It has all of our steps in the time frame, and we can quickly see where we're at. Well, you'll have this when you've downloaded it, your time frame schedule when you're doing this. So you might start your planning process real heavy at the end of June or beginning of September, depending when your fiscal year starts or ends. And since I'm operating on calendar year, most of my heavy chores and duties, we're not doing chores. Most of my tasks are in the first part of the year. So if we Google, how often should I do a strategic plan? This is a very common question and lots of different answers, but the biggest takeaway is there's no right answer. For any of this strategic planning, any of the pieces, the parts of it, it all depends on how big your company is, what your operating environment is, what your regulations are like, how hot and heavy are your competitors working. So if your competitors are churning out lots of results and new products and R&D, you're going to need to do that too. And that also means that your strategic plan should operate at the same high speed level. And so if you're a small company, a sole proprietor, you could do this once a year, put it away and get it out later. But again, we're not turning this into a habit if we do that. And that's the same as dieting, the same as exercise regime. If we're not making it something that we're used to doing, by the time we catch up and try to do it again in a year, we don't remember where we left off. We don't remember what we were doing. We don't remember why we even put something on the list. And so it becomes this big burdensome thing to accomplish. And then we put it aside again and it doesn't really get done. But this is the kind of thing that drives you to success and to the things that you want to do. So my suggestion is to make sure that your plan and your planning cycle fits what you're doing, what your goals are, what your competitors are doing, and maybe do this Google yourself, search and see what other people are doing, check what your competitors are doing. It's not maybe easy to find out what their step-by-step is, but a lot of them might have, if your competitors have their strategic plan documented on their website, maybe you need to take a look at it. Maybe you need to have yours documented as well. I've seen lots of universities that do something like this, and it shows that they are planning ahead. They're using their benchmarks. They're trying to be the best in the industry. And so that's what we want to do here. Even if you are a small time player, you still have big dreams and you want to tackle them. And this is the way to do it, is by turning it into a habit. So that's what I have to say about that today. And another reason why we're here is because I'm not making this a one-time thing. This is a daily part of my routines. There's different time horizons. So I think there's a misconception with doing a strategic plan. You don't do it all in one day. The retreat part that a lot of bigger companies do, where they spend a day or two out of the office with their teams, that's one piece of the strategic plan. That doesn't mean we do our strategic plan once a year. That means that's the one task that we do once a year is the retreat. And I don't have that in my thing here, but you might add that if that's something that you do. And so you'll see how we're building these little steps, and this check-in is just the piece where we keep reminding ourselves, bringing it to the surface that this is something that we're supposed to be doing. And I hope that I might have answered your question. If I haven't, please contact me and we'll get to the bottom of it and maybe help you if you're not sure what to do with your organization. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and see you soon. And I know this is probably visibly running.